Yeah, that's right. I sometimes when I speak with atheists in general, I hear a lot of things like we are postulating God on mysteries. So the next question is about the God of the gaps. What is it, and is our God fitting in this category?
Yes. Well, this is one of the reasons that people like Dawkins and others prefer atheism. They think that people like me believe in God because we don't have an adequate explanation in terms of the natural sciences. The God of the gaps is, putting it very crudely, I can't explain it, therefore God must have done it. And that's a very common view among the ancient Babylonians, Greeks, and Romans. For instance, they couldn't understand lightning or thunder. And so they had a god of thunder and a god of lightning, and that was their solution to it. And if you study atmospheric physics, you will soon get rid of the god of lightning and the god of thunder. They disappear. And the god of the gaps keeps disappearing because as science expands, it fills those gaps of ignorance. So that's the idea of the God of the gaps. I don't believe in a God of the gaps, except in a good sense, which I can explain. You see, when Newton discovered his law of gravity, he did not say, wonderful, I now know how it's done. I don't need God. He didn't say that at all. He wrote a book called Principia Mathematica, which is the most famous book in the history of science. And in it, he expressed the hope that thinking people would use his work to come to believe in God. You see, he believed in God not because he was ignorant of gravity, but because gravity was such a wonderful thing. He thought, what a brilliant God to be able to do something like that. So his faith in God and my faith in God is not based on what I do not understand. It's increasingly based on what I do understand. You see, there are good gaps and bad gaps. The bad gaps are the gaps that disappear when you study more science. But the good gaps are gaps that appear if you reject the possibility that there is a God. And one of those is the origin of life. There is absolutely no progress has been made, serious progress on the origin of life. And people are not prepared to invoke a supernatural dimension as well as the physical dimension. So that is basically it. You know, the Bible begins with a statement, in the beginning, God created the bits of the universe that we don't understand. No. It's in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That is, he created the whole show. And if you think about that for a moment, the more you understand of something, the more you can admire the genius of the person behind it. For example, if you understand art, you can go to the Louvre in Paris and you will see more in the paintings than a person who doesn't understand art. The more you understand about informatics or information technology, the more you can admire the latest computers and artificial intelligence. Someone who doesn't understand anything about it, just sees it as a black box, as a great mystery. So it's very important to realize that the more we understand, the more we can admire the genius behind it, if it's the sort of thing that requires intelligence for its construction. And that's where my interest in languages comes in. The moment you see language of any kind, whether it's symbolic language, computer language, or human language, you know there's a mind behind it. And the more you see it represented in physical entities, for example, if you're in a room and you see the word EXIT, exit, above a door. Now, there may have been quite a lot of processes, engineering and so on, to make that sign. But you know that because exit conveys meaning, that there must be a mind behind it somewhere. And therefore, for me, the fact that the universe is mathematically describable is evidence of a mind behind it.
Yeah, you have written a lot also in the book about God of the Gaps. I liked your examples with Henry Ford and around the idea of engineering. So
Yes.